In this question, which is in 2.8a, question number 8, we want to find all of the x-intercepts of the function f of x equals 5 times x minus 5 squared minus 2. So since I want to find x-intercepts, I want to solve for x when the equation is equal to 0. So I'm going to start with the equation 5 times x minus 5 squared minus 2 equals 0. The first thing that I would do then is add 2 to both sides to rewrite this. So let me just copy it real quick to save myself a little bit of time. If I add 2 to both sides, then it's going to be equal to 2. And then the next thing I would need to do is to divide off that 5. So if I divide both sides by 5, you'll see, divide by 5, oops, I'm just divide by 5. Divide both sides by 5, you'll see that the 5's cancel off over here, so you actually just get this piece left. And it's equal to now 2/5. Okay? Then you're going to take the square root of both sides to get rid of your square. So I'm going to do the square root of both sides, and I make sure that when I do a square root that I get a plus or minus in front of it. Okay, let's jump down to the next line to continue. So that's going to give me the square and the square root will give me just the x minus 5 on this side equals then our plus and minus the square root of 2/5. Now, this needs to be rationalized, right? So I'm going to multiply this by, I'm going to need a fraction that has whatever square I need to get rid of the bottom. So since I have a 5 in the bottom already, I'm going to need to multiply top and bottom by the square root of 5. That will create a 25 in the denominator. So do square root of 5 over square root of 5. Okay? So let me just copy again because it makes it easier for me to continue. When I finish multiplying, okay, right here on the top, that's going to be, let's see, 2 times 5 is 10. Now I did that one. And the bottom, 5 times 5 is 25. So now we finish the multiplication. So we have square root of 10 over square root of 25. Now, I know that I can rewrite that as the square root of 10 over the square root of 25, right? So I can rewrite that as the square root of 10 over the square root of 25, and then I know that the square root of 25 is 5. So far I've got this simplified to plus and minus square root of 10 over 5. Okay? Now we're going to add our 5 to both sides. Okay? So let me just copy it real quick and paste it down in the next line so I can show my work. When I add 5 to both sides, add 5 is going to come over here as a positive 5. I don't need to write the positive. I can just put a positive 5 there, right? Okay. Now, that's the answer, and that's usually how I would write the answer. I would usually write the two answers as, oh my, okay, so x equals, I would usually write 5 plus the square root of 10 over 5, comma, x equals, and then I would write 5 minus the square root of 10 over 5. Perfect. Okay, now that's how I would usually leave it. Now, this time, the answers look a little bit differently. First of all, they actually wanted the ordered pairs, right? Because they're x-intercepts, they should be ordered pairs. So you would just write both of these as an ordered pair. So you would do the x value, comma the y value is 0, of course. And the other ordered pair, let me put these in proper parentheses. Proper parentheses. So that would be the first ordered pair, and the second ordered pair would be, would have the minus, of course, and then the comma 0. Now, that is what I would usually type. And I just want to compare with what the answer shows, and the answer shows something a little bit different. I'm not sure that it wouldn't take what I've gotten, but what I see that they show is that they've gotten a common denominator across their numerators. So let's just finish our fractions to get a common denominator just so we can compare and show that our answer really truly is the same thing as the answer that was written. Okay? So if I get a common denominator, this 5 is going to become a 5 over 1, and then you know that you're going to multiply by 5 on top and bottom to get a common denominator, so it's going to make your numerator a 25 and your denominator a 5. Then, because they have a common denominator, you can actually add that 25 into the numerator, and it's all over 5. Okay, so that's a simplified version of the first one. This one's going to work in the same way. Common denominator, your 5 becomes a 5 over 1, and then you would need to multiply top and bottom by 5 to get a common denominator. So the top becomes 25, the bottom becomes 5. Then again, you have 25 minus square root of 10 in the numerator all over 5. Okay, so again, this is the same thing as I had before. It's just been the x coordinates just been combined into a single value. Okay. So I would be surprised if it didn't accept either of these answers. It is showing me one of the answer, but I would be very surprised if it didn't accept both. And if it doesn't, you can please let me know so that I can correct myself and submit this to the publisher. It should accept either one of those. Okay. I hope that answers your question.